Every day, we're here for you. We get things off the ground, keeping you connected. We're here keeping you safe and secure. We keep things running smoothly and know the importance of giving back. Every day, we're here. ARA. Here for you. Here for good.
Welcome to Quick Wisdom by Everyday Greatness, and thanks for joining me. I'm your host, Barnaby Howarth. I want to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands we're filming these interviews on, the Darug people of the Eora Nation. I pay my respects to elders, past and present. I'm a former Sydney Swans player, a massive Sydney Swans fan, and I have a lot of mates at the Sydney Swans Football Club. But today, I'm at Giants HQ, home of the Greater Western Sydney Giants, where I'll be interviewing two of their gun players, Kieren Briggs and Tahnee Evans, on the Everyday Greatness podcast. And this is what I love about Aussie rules footy, sport, and Australia in general. We can disagree, but we do it respectfully. We don't have to be on the same page in everything we do, but we can look each other in the eye, shake each other's hands, and help each other out where we can. We can go for different footy teams, but we can still get along okay, because at some point down the line, we know we all have something in common, which is the case with Kieren, Tahnee, and I. So I'm going to go and interview them now. If somebody owed you money and you were to send somebody around to their house just to knock on the door and scare them a little bit, one of the first people you'd consider sending is Gws Giants Ruckman, Kieren Briggs. If you were to send somebody around to their house, though, to physically shake them up and squeeze the money out of them, the last person you'd consider sending is Kieren Briggs. Physically, Kieren is an intimidating bloke. Tall, young and fit. He's about as wide as he is tall as well. But Kieren's also a really good bloke. He wouldn't deliberately hurt a fly, and he operates on old school values of kindness and respect. In a world where it feels like a lot of people are cutting out graciousness in their lives because it gets in the way of finding success, Kieren Briggs is a refreshing bloke to be around. He more than holds his own against some of the most intimidating athletes in Australia in the AFL competition every weekend. But he's also one of the first blokes teammates and opponents go and have a beer with and have a chat to after the game. So to tell us about how he finds success using athlete mentality, it's a pleasure to say that Kieren Briggs joins me now. Kieren, welcome.
Hey Barnaby, how are we?
Very well, very well. Now before I start, I believe you've got something you want to say.
Yeah, I'm a 2017 Premiership player for Pennant Hills, and it's always been a close sort of part of my life. I've signed up as a member this year, and it's got great benefits down at Mike Kenny. So just asking to dig deep to anyone that could also sign up, or get businesses, family, friends to sign up as well. Mean a lot to the community and to keep a great club afloat.
Very cool. Come on, you demons. Now, a couple of weeks ago, you went back to your old primary school, North Rocks Public. What was it like going back to your old school and taking a trip down memory lane?
Yeah, it's changed a lot since I've been there. Buildings sort of develop and things like that, but sort of the grassroots of it's still the same. There's still a lot of the same people there that sort of taught me when I was young, and yeah, it was exciting to sort of go back to where it all sort of began, I guess.
So let me test your memory. Did you notice how well AFL is regarded these days compared to what it was when you were a student there?
Yeah, well, AFL wasn't really a thing back then, so definitely having a clinic and kids excited about AFL players coming to the club was exciting.
So let me talk about athlete mentality. How do you explain it? Do you have some of it? Is it tangible? Do you have a can of it in your top drawer at home?
No, I wouldn't say quite a can of it. Tangible, yeah, not quite. You can't exactly just grab it and take a sip of it. So it's definitely something you got to work on. Not everyone has it. I wouldn't say I had it when I started my career, so it's definitely a strong part in sort of great people's games, and to be able to build on that and become a player that's strong mentally, it's a massive part of the game.
So a lot of people seem to think that you have to be a professional athlete at the top of their game to have athlete mentality. Can everyday people have it?
Yeah, I think for sure. People go through struggles. It doesn't have to be necessarily in an athlete's lifestyle. People struggle each day with their own jobs and their own sort of family issues or self issues. So, it doesn't have to be regarded as sort of athlete's mentality. It's more of like a resilience mentality and sort of motivation and whatnot to get the best out of life.
Now, you're an interesting dude. Let me ask you about AFL footy. Do those small things like kindness and respect make a scrap of difference on the field when you're playing AFL? Or are they just a waste of time and hold you back from finding success?
I wouldn't say waste of time, but there's definitely once you cross that line, sense of competitiveness, that sort of kindness, I guess a little bit goes out the window. But that's what I suppose a lot of people don't really understand is, like, you get judged for the player you are on the field, and they don't know you away from the field. So I wouldn't exactly judge everything that goes on the field. There's obviously that sort of crossing that line and sort of white line fever of being on the field and being competitive and just wanting to do the best for your club and teammates.
So when's the last time you did something a bit knobbish on the field and you thought, oh, Kieren, that was a bit stupid, pull your head in?
Well, I got fined a couple of weeks ago, even though it wasn't quite a knobbish act. I tend to keep it pretty under wraps and on the field.
You're one of the Premier Ruckman in the AFL competition. Do you aim to be the best player in the comp, or are you just giving it a crack, the best crack you can week in, week out, and having faith the results will take care of themselves? Yeah,
I've obviously got aspirations to be the best player I can be, whether that's the best going around, like more of a sort of process-driven person rather than a results-driven person. So just sort of doing everything I can to put my best foot forward, not necessarily thinking about the outcome.
Now let me ask you about AFL in Sydney. Did you ever think there was a pathway to playing AFL when you were a kid at North Rocks Public and Penno Juniors? Did you see a pathway that might get you to where you are today?
Not particularly. I sort of grew up playing soccer. Athletics was a big part of my life, and sort of everything I sort of could do. But it wasn't until I was about 12 or 13 when the Giants Academy were a part of a system, and that sort of made it a bit clearer. Even then I still wasn't quite sure whether AFL was what I wanted to do. It wasn't really quite clear until I was about 16 or 17 that sort of AFL was what I wanted to do.
So given that, how does it make you feel when you run out every weekend and quite often you play against blokes from Sydney and see so many guys from the Sydney competition playing in the AFL now?
Yeah, it's great to see. And even guys, we have players like Mitch Blow and Luke Scrivenik, like sort of topping up for our VFL program. Penno guys as well. I played in a premiership with Luke, and seeing him around the Giants club is just really cool to see that it's sort of continued on and flourished. But yeah, I mean, there's a numerous amount of guys playing across different teams at the moment. It's exciting to see that Sydney is sort of growing some homegrown talent.
Now, there's a cracking culture at the Giants Footy Club. Do you see any similarities between the culture here and the culture at your old club, the Pennant Hills Demons?
Yeah, definitely. Still a lot of my great friends are from the Penno Demons and lifelong friends that I made playing there, and even as a junior. So family is probably our biggest culture piece here, and that's definitely right up there at Pennant Hills. It's a family club, and that's what we pride ourselves on here as well.
Kieren Briggs, it's been a pleasure chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Barnaby.
Thanks, mate.
Every day, we're here for you. We get things off the ground, keeping you connected. We're here keeping you safe and secure. We keep things running smoothly and know the importance of giving back. Every day, we're here. ARA, here for you,
here for good.